Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for all global fellow fighters of the new federal state of China. This is Ayla from the NFSC. We're now at the MFest. Joining with us right now is Vince, a website owner. So Vince, please say hello and do a brief introduction to our audience.
Well, my name is Vince Ivanovich, and I'm the creator and owner of a website called ConcernedCitizen.io, which was created to give people an opportunity to find over 90 honest news websites, over 100 organizations, and be introduced to over 100 positive influencers who can help people understand what's going on in the country, and then get together with other people, other citizens, to make a positive change and save our country.
Vince, as far as I, was aware that your family actually escaped from a communist regime, and your family has sacrificed so much to be living in the United States, and that you shared, the concerns from coming from your family that you believe that communism have actually invaded into the United States. And so, can you tell us a little bit more of your observation and your experience being escaped from a communist country, and how do you, currently feel about the current America?
Well, my parents are from Yugoslavia. They grew up in different parts of Yugoslavia. They both escaped on their own because they wanted to have a better life. They left their families behind. None of their families went with them. They met in a refugee camp in Austria, got married, went to Canada, wanted to come to the United States, and eventually were able to come into the United States. So I grew up knowing about communism, knowing about the evils of communism, and you know, if somebody's willing to risk their life to escape a country and a system, then there's no question about how evil a system like that must be. Um, with what's been happening in the last few years in the United States, I became very concerned about what the reasons were. That I was observing all these changes, and one of the things that I did is I've learned a lot about how communism has been infiltrating our own government since the early part of the 20th century, starting with Woodrow Wilson's administration. The Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration was full of communists.
Right.
China became a communist country in 1949 because of communists in the United States government that allowed that to happen. And now billions, over a billion people are enslaved by communism, and it's coming here to the United States, and I'm very worried about that.
Absolutely. And so as you have become aware that the Chinese Communist Party is actually empowered by the United States, and this is primarily why we've seen that the CCP was able to propagate their people, their personnels, and their ideologies into this nation. And the United States is the only nation where the Statue of Liberty stands. And now the CCP wants the Liberty Statue, the Statue of Liberty to hold the book of the communism. So what do you think that for all of the, U.S. patriots and for people who fled away from a communist regime and now lived in the United States, what can these people do to fight together?
People have to become more educated about what's going on. The corporate media has been brainwashing people for years. They're not being honest. They're convincing people that what's not true is true and what is true isn't true. They're able to make mountains out of molehills and molehills out of mountains. We have to break away from them. That's why I created the ConcernedCitizen.io website, to give people somewhere to go where they can learn about what's really going on and then get involved and do something about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vince. Thank you for joining us today. And the last words, tell our audience about your Getter handle so that people can follow you and support you. And we, along with all of the people who fled away from the communist nations, we need to keep up the fight and take down the communist dictatorships.
Well, my Getter handle is ConcernedCitizen.io at Sirius_Serb.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you so much for joining with us
It's my
today.
pleasure. Thank you.